Yo, what is going on? We're here for another episode of Matt Knows Ball, the podcast. But, peep over here, new and improved. Peep the signing. It's kind of hard to see, honestly, because this camera sucks, but that's a Matt Knows Ball LED sign. Shit's tough. But I believe this is episode 28. Currently watching this Rams Panthers playoff game right now. This is a hell of a game. I didn't really care about the fact that this was on before doing the podcast because I wasn't planning on gambling on this game. I didn't really have any insight for this game besides I expect the Rams to either win by a billion or win by like 3 to 6 points. Don't hate the Panthers to cover. That was pretty much my analysis on this game, and it's going about how I thought it would, to be honest with you. The Rams seemingly secondary is not great against the Panthers, especially weirdly just big physical receivers. I mean, Panthers have T-Mac, what's his name, Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette. They are a big physical wide receiver core. That seems to be one of the things that gives the Rams problems pretty consistently. But I kind of just have this game on in the background. If something crazy happens that I notice, I'll probably comment on it. Matt Stafford's playing well. Bryce Young threw a pretty bad pick, but it was kind of the receiver's fault. I don't really blame him for that too much. Just off the top, I think we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you guys my MVP of the league. We could just get to that now, but we're going to do the MVP. I want to talk about Josh Allen this season. Not for the MVP, though. And then I'm going to give out my game picks for this week, who I think is going to win, and my gambling picks. Two different things. My thought process, honestly, on this season, or like recap of the season, we'll do the gambling recap after the postseason. But we went 37, 27, and 1 on the regular season gambling wise. Panthers are kicking a field goal here to tie it up. Looks like it's good. So Panthers tied the game 17-17. Rams look kind of disappointing right now. Puka Nacua is having a hell of a game. Really bad drop, though, from him. He had one bad drop that would have probably been a touchdown, but ended up being, obviously not a touchdown. He dropped it. It's just been a weird season, man. A weird, exciting season. The Colts looked like they were going to be awesome. They didn't end up being great. But, it's Daniel Jones. What did you expect? Daniel Jones gets hurt. The Packers looked like they were a Super Bowl contender. I picked them to make the NFC Championship game, and I don't know if I'll be picking them to win a single playoff game now without Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft. It's been a hell of a year, man. The Chiefs are out. The Bengals are out again. The Ravens are out. And old man Aaron Rodgers might win a playoff game for the Steelers. Who knows? It's been a hell of a weird season, man. But for my MVP pick, I think that it's pretty much consensus and thought of pretty heavily as Drake May at this point as a favorite to win the MVP. I think that that's wrong. Nick Wright had a great take about this where he talked about how MVP has kind of somewhat become like December player of the month, and like the first like 6 months or the first few months of the season are like establishing like who's what is that called? Like who's available to be selected to win the MVP, like who's eligible to win. And normally, like last year, it was Lamar and Josh, and then there was a year where it was Brock, Lamar, and Dak, basically. And then it's kind of just like whoever has the best December. You know what I mean? And I'm not a big fan of that. I think that we have to keep in mind that this is a regular season award. This is obviously December's the regular season, but this is a regular season award. This matters for the entire season. This isn't just who's in the race and then who has the best December, who catches the most fire in the last 6 weeks of the season. I think that it matters that Matthew Stafford has 15 more touchdowns than Drake May. So, me personally, my MVP of the league this year would be Matthew Stafford. I'm a big fan of both of those guys, though. I love Drake May. I liked him out of college. I wish that the Raiders could have somehow got him, but of course we did not. We got the number one overall pick this year, though. Watched Fernando Mendoza last night. I'm gonna get to that in a minute, though. But me personally, my MVP would go to Matthew Stafford. He threw 15 more touchdowns, and I don't understand this narrative that he threw 15 more touchdowns and they were all just 1 yard touchdowns. First off, that's not true. Also, they still fucking count. If my running back had a bunch of 1 yard touchdowns, I wouldn't be like, doesn't count. Like that's where touchdowns come from, is the goal line area. Like most touchdowns aren't just blown coverage 40-yard TDs. Like, he threw 45 touchdowns. I think I saw a stat that the only quarterback to throw for 45 passing touchdowns and not win the MVP was, I think, Drew Brees, who lost to Aaron Rodgers, who threw 46 passing touchdowns, something like that. Crazy stat. Matt Stafford, in my opinion, has been the most valuable player this year. Has solidified himself in the number 5 spot, which has been in flux for the last couple seasons. I mean, last year it felt like it was Jaden Daniels. The year before that, it felt like it was C.J. Stroud. Now it feels like Drake May, Matt Stafford are, making that push. Outside of the big four, obviously, Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar. Obviously, I wouldn't say that Matt Stafford's, any of those guys, but this season, I believe he's been the best quarterback and the most impressive quarterback and deserves the MVP, which unfortunately is what the MVP is now, is the most impressive quarterback award. Off the top of my head, though, I think my ballot would go Matt Stafford and then Drake May, and then we could talk about, I guess, Josh Allen, who just somehow is always here. And then I would probably put Myles Garrett and, like, CMC, maybe. CMC. Maybe get some JSN, Puka Nacua, but me personally, Puka Nacua would be my offensive player of the year. I've been super impressed with the Rams this year. Either him or JSN. I really don't care either way, to be honest with you. Both of them made me a bunch of money this season, so no complaints there. But I want to talk about Josh Allen. And I think that this is the season where Josh Allen's going to start getting some, not held accountable for what happens this year in the playoffs, like he's going to, get cut or, everybody's going to hate Josh Allen or something. Obviously, that's not the case. But this is, to me, the season where Josh Allen has by far the most pressure on him. And to me, he has more pressure on him than any other player in the NFL coming into the playoffs. Think about the playoff field right now. You have C.J. Stroud, 41 or 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, Bo Nix, Drake May. It's all young dudes. There's nobody in the playoffs right now who's a big hitter. It's all young dudes. There's nobody like super, super impressive. I mean, obviously, Drake May had a hell of a season. He's making an MVP run. The Jags obviously are good. The Chargers with Herbert are obviously good. But there's none of those. There's none of the big killers. There's no, I lost because I played Joe Burrow. There's no, I lost because I played Lamar Jackson, which he has not lost to Lamar Jackson. So, that I'm not saying that that's like something that historically has been the case. But the players that Josh Allen has beat in the playoffs, I'm a big Josh Allen fan, but the players and the quarterbacks that Josh Allen has beat in the playoffs have mostly been home games. They've mostly been home games as like the 1 or 2 seed. Like as the 2 seed against like the 7 seed. And you clobber the shit out of them. You beat Bo Nix. You beat like Ryan Fitzpatrick. You do beat Lamar twice, so I give him credit for that, but I don't find Lamar to be particularly an unbelievable, postseason quarterback so far, so it's not really as impressive as it sounds. But, he's lost to Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, I think, every time he's played them in the playoffs. Maybe he beat Joe Burrow once, but I know he's 0-4 against Mahomes, which no other quarterback in history has had happen. But Mahomes ain't there. Burrow ain't there. Lamar ain't there. This is your year. If you beat Trevor Lawrence, who 6 months ago was probably thought of as one of the 5 to 10 worst contracts in the NFL, you beat Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, who don't really have some insane high-flying roster. They have a good to great defense, a good offensive line, a good run game, and a decent receiver core. Clearly their coach is great. I like Liam Cohen a lot. He's clearly got this team playing hard. He's clearly got this team playing for the playoffs. I'm very impressed with that. But this is, I understand people want to act like Josh Allen has no receivers, has no weapons, and his defense is atrocious. First off, I believe his defense is ranked in the top of the pass rankings. I know they're atrocious against the run, so I'm not going to give that a ton of credit because, if you can run the ball so easy, then you're not going to pass as much, So that number could be inflated by how shitty the run defense is. But let's not act like this guy doesn't have the league's leading rusher in James Cook. Like, James Cook, I think, almost has 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Not rushing, 2,000 scrimmage yards total. I think it's like 1,900 or something. He's had a hell of a season. James Cook is a fantastic player. He's a great offensive line. He has good to great tight ends. That skill position group in terms of tight ends and running backs is fantastic. He just needs more receivers. But like that's kind of what we expect great quarterbacks to do. Like Lamar Jackson doesn't have a history of having stacked receiving cores, and he brings these teams maybe not to deep playoff runs, and we think that that's because of Lamar Jackson kind of getting the jitters a little bit, but that's not really the point here. It's more so you expect an all-time great quarterback to be able to elevate that. If you have other parts of the team, like Mahomes was dealing with Kadarius Toney and Juju Smith-Schuster and Megatron Valdez-Scantling and all these dudes who weren't exactly the most impressive receivers ever, but you give Mahomes a shitty receiver core with a good defense. I mean, Mahomes had a shitty receiving core, shitty offensive line, and shitty running backs, and made the Super Bowl. And matter of fact, they won back-to-back Super Bowls. They almost went for 3. So, like, to me, I get it. But also, if you're an MVP, if you're an elite player, if you're supposed to go down as a Hall of Famer, an all-time great, I kind of just expect you to overcome this. It's not. I mean, you have a better run game than anybody else. James Cook this season's probably been better than Derrick Henry. Like James Cook has had a hell of a year. So I just obviously Burrows is kind of the opposite. Terrible offensive line and atrocious defense with great weapons. And it kind of just comes to show like when you have one of these quarterbacks who's really like one of the top elite of the elite in the league, I expect you to overcome that. Like Burrow's been shit on for a couple years now because he's missing the playoffs. When we all know that it ain't Joe Burrow's fault. You know what I mean? We all know that Joe Burrow's not the reason you're missing the playoffs. The reason you're missing the playoffs is because your defense sucks, right? But Joe Burrow's going to get a bunch of flack all the time because he missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. What do you expect? Josh Allen, you made the playoff, but you didn't even win your division. The Patriots had one of the weaker schedules in a really, really long time, and they come in, they beat you. I think they beat them in Buffalo. And you lose a lot of weird games this year. You lose to Atlanta, you lose to the Dolphins. I could see the Jags winning this weekend. So I think that Josh Allen is under a ton of pressure. And I mean, the only guy in this field that has experience really is Aaron Rodgers. And the other guys like Trevor Lawrence has a playoff win, but that's it. And Justin Herbert hasn't won a playoff game yet, but he's been in the playoffs. Like, I mean, I guess these guys have some experience. CJ Stroud's won one playoff game, I believe. Devontae Adams just got absolutely blasted. Holy shit. Flag is down. He looks like he's okay. Oh, my God. Stafford led him up the sideline. Got absolutely lit up by the safety coming down. Excuse me for a second to get a drink. Sponsor me, by the way. I love this shit. Genuinely, Celsius. Let me know. One day when I blow up, eventually, I'll tell everybody, I'm powered by peach mango green tea Celsius, and that cherry Coke one is gas too. But I think that's enough of this yapping. Let's get into who I think is going to win playoff games this week. Obviously, I said I expect the Rams to win, but I honestly think the Panthers are going to cover. That's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm not going to bet it, but if I was going to bet it, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd bet anything except maybe Panthers plus 10.5. 10.5 is a lot of points in a playoff game at home. But that game's on. There's no point in giving analysis on a game that we're all watching as I'm recording this. Packers-Bears comes on in about an hour and a half. And I'm going to be taking the Bears. The Bears are actually somehow now 2-point underdogs. I bet them when they were favorites early in the week. I like to try and get that value. I thought that line was going to continue to grow in favor of the Bears, not in favor of the Packers. Clearly, I got a bad read on that. But, I mean, the Packers defense, they play hard. It's going to be the playoffs. They're going to be playing hard. I expect Jeff Hafley to have that unit ready and, prepared. But I just expect Ben Johnson to do a better job against the Packers defense than I expect Matt LaFleur to do against the Bears defense. The Bears defense is not exactly, the 85 Bears. It's not exactly, the modern day Broncos. It's not the Legion of Boom by any means. They're not really a good to great defense whatsoever, but they're good at taking the ball away. And Jordan Love is good at giving the ball away in certain spots. Not saying that he's super turnover prone, but we've seen in history that that's what he does. Caleb Williams does not throw picks for the most part. Pretty dialed in guy. And it's kind of flawed logic on my part, because later I'm going to talk about how a QB in their first playoff game, I don't expect them to be great, but I think I expect Caleb Williams because of how insane he's been in the clutch throughout his career. They're also at home. This isn't a road playoff game. This isn't this is a big spot, but you've played this team twice this season. You played the team twice this year, and my expectation, I think that Caleb Williams is going to come through. Caleb Williams is so talented that I expect him to come through. Like, just so insanely physically gifted as a player that I feel like it's almost impossible that he's not. And I've seen him be so clutch that I expect him to be ready for this moment. But Packers are missing Micah, and that's kind of what everybody talks about. Is like, oh yeah, Micah Parsons got hurt. I think it's just as big of a deal, to be completely honest with you, that the Packers do not have Tucker Kraft. I mean, it's not as big of a deal because Micah Parsons obviously is an not all-time great, but an elite of the elite pass rusher. But Tucker Kraft is Jordan Love's security blanket. Obviously, Luke Musgrave is also doing a great job of that. So, of course, that role is kind of being filled because they have such a good tight end group. But, excuse me, but Tucker Kraft is a super impressive player, and I think that people almost underestimate how important he was to this team. I think he was making a case to be one of the 3 to 4 best tight ends in the NFL. Like, I think that if he wasn't hurt, this season was going to be the season where he proved to be a top 5 tight end. Like, I think it's Brock Bowers personally, and then Trey McBride and George Kittle, and then that's where you start to have that conversation. Like, I don't think it's Kelsey right now. So like, could that 4 to 5 spot be Tucker Kraft? Could that be who's slotting in there? Because obviously, I think that the big 3 kind of undebatably at this point is Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, and George Kittle, which is crazy. Shout out to George Kittle for this level of longevity. Rams just kicked the field goal. They go up 20-17. But in this spot, I think I'm just taking the Bears. The Bears are at home. Funny enough, Ben Johnson talked about beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. We thought that was, hilarious because they ended up losing to the Packers in one of those games. And they honestly needed a miracle to win the other one. This is his chance to beat him 2 times a year. I think that the Packers defense is going to be a bit underwhelming in this game. That's kind of my expectation. And I think that, to be honest with you, the Bears are just going to run the shit out of the football. I don't see there being a big opportunity for the Packers defense to really get any takeaways. Sorry, I'm getting a call from my brother. I'm just gonna tell him to text me. Anyway, sorry about that. Moving on to the second game. I think Bears win at home. Right. I expect the Bears to come through. I trust Caleb Williams. Let's talk about Jags Bills. Jags Bills is the 10 a.m. game tomorrow. I'm working night shifts. I'm going to try and wake up for that. But I'm going to take Jags money line personally. I think it's crazy to say that, and I think everybody in the world is going to be betting on the Bills. Maybe this is the spot where Vegas makes their money. But the Jags have a great run defense. The Jags are at home, and the Bills' best attribute is that they run the ball, right? The Jags do a great job of taking the ball away. Josh Allen, I think, can play great and still lose this game. Like, there's a situation where Josh Allen plays out of his mind and his defense just can't keep up and they lose 35-38. And then I don't think that there is a situation where Josh Allen plays bad and they win this game. I don't think that there's a situation where Josh Allen hits the other end of the roller coaster and hits the way back down and throws 2 picks, has 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, has kind of like a Josh Allen turnover-prone game, maybe a pick and a fumble or something. I don't think that script can lean itself to the Bills winning this game. That Jags home stadium, that home crowd is going to be going absolutely nuts. And I just think that Trevor kind of in a weird way, I believe in Trevor more than a normal person. Trevor and Caleb are both 2 guys that I like a lot. Oh yeah, weird. I like the number 1 overall picks who are super physically talented. What a long shot by Matt. But when you have 2 teams and one of them has a great defense and one of them has a trash defense, it kind of just feels, like I said, the Bills' run defense is truly, truly atrocious. So, is Trevor really going to have to do that much if his offensive line and run game step up in this spot, which I think they're going to? I think they're going to play an unbelievably physical brand of football and just try and muddy this game up. And, the Jags were 1.5-point dogs. They moved now to, I think they're now 1.5, or no, I think they were 1.5 point favorites last time I looked, weirdly enough, but I took Jags money line. I actually expect them to win. Like I said, I just think that there's a chance. I mean, Josh Allen is a roller coaster player. Josh Allen is great in the playoffs for the most part. Josh Allen's been really good, especially in this round. But I think Josh Allen, the only way that the Bills win this game is if Josh Allen goes Superman mode. I don't see a Josh Allen pedestrian game that wins because the Jags are so great against the run. I don't think that this can be a James Cook game. That might be an oversight by me. Maybe it becomes a James Cook game. Maybe he shows that he's so much better than this Jags run defense that he can just dominate it. But me personally, I think that it's going to be a defense heavy game and take the home team. So that's one of my bets. I'm taking Bears and I'm taking Jags. I'm staying away from Niners Eagles. I expect the Eagles to win this game, but the line moved from -3 all the way to -6. Eagles favored. Good on that. I do not trust the Eagles offense enough. The reason that I might have been, if it was Eagles -2.5, I would have slammed Eagles -2.5. If it was Eagles -3, which I should have bet early in the week, I would have bet that because I think if they win, it'll be by 3. But I mean, I think if it's a close game, they win by 3. But you don't want to lay 6 points against that offense. I mean, the craziest seasons from Christian McCaffrey, like this dude is just chugging the rock. I don't care about his yards per carry. This dude's usage rate in the Niners offense is so ridiculous. Like this dude, and he was elite receiving this year. He almost got 1,000. He didn't. But early in the year, I believe he was top 5 in receiving in like week 9. Like he was having an awesome year and still is. And the only reason that I'm staying away is because I don't trust the Niners defense at all. If I had to bet this game, I would just bet Eagles money line, but I'm not betting a 6 point favorite money line. Like that's just not good. I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I would bet a lot of money that the Eagles would win this football game. Like I said, in the playoffs, I trust defenses and I trust being at home a lot. And same thought process for the Jags, right? But I don't trust I think that the Niners defense is so bad that the Eagles offense will kind of have a get right game. And historically, Kyle Shanahan is not great against Vic Fangio. Now, one of those games, I can't remember if Vic Fangio was on the Eagles the year that Brock Purdy hurt his elbow. I think he was, but I'm not 100% on that. So maybe that skews those stats, but I know that he's not great against him. And Kyle Shanahan historically apparently has really wanted to hire Vic Fangio. So I think that this is a defensive coordinator in a defense that Kyle Shanahan like really respects to a certain point. And I don't hate. I'm just not. I don't trust the Niners defense in a big spot on the road. I think if they ended up being the 1 seed and they got a bye and got home games, then there was a chance. But I think now they're missing D winners. I think they're missing their entire linebacking core. Bosa's obviously not playing. Warner's obviously not playing. Ayuk is like protesting playing football. I don't know what he has going on, but I would stay away from this game. I expect the Eagles to win though. I like the Chargers also plus 3.5, which is hilarious because I was just talking about how, you know, even though Caleb Williams is in his first playoff game, I trust Caleb Williams. I think that there's a spot where both of these guys could play bad, right? There's a spot where Caleb could play bad, and there's also a script where Drake plays bad. I think it's a little bit more likely that Drake isn't great in this game, and that's not because I don't think that Drake May is good. It's because it's his first career playoff game, and I haven't really seen him in a lot of big spots. Like, a lot of these games are just him blowing out the Jets or blowing out the Dolphins or blowing out the Titans, you know? And that's no discredit to Drake May, but the schedule clearly did not lean itself to being like a playoff team. Mike Vrabel's going to have this team ready. But at 3.5 points, I'm taking the Chargers. I believe it's going to be raining in Foxborough during this game. I think that the Chargers' biggest weakness all season has been that their offensive line is atrocious, disappointing, terrible, right? But they aren't playing a team that's really built to take advantage of that. The Patriots' defensive line has not been good at rushing the passer. They're good against the run, but I just think that this is going to be a muddy game. I just think this is going to be think about it, dude. Just think about the script in your head. It's Mike Vrabel versus Jim Harbaugh. This game is going to end 21-24 or, 21-18 or some weird ass score. And or not weird score, but just one of those. This game's going to end 17-14. Like One of those kind of games that I think the Patriots are going to win, but I like the Chargers to cover the 3.5. I think that they're just it's going to be a good old fashioned football game, and I think that the Chargers defense is much better than a lot of people give them credit for. Jesse Minter is a genius, and I think the Chargers are going to lose, but I think the Chargers are going to lose close. Drake May's first playoff game, he's playing an elite DC, and unfortunately, there is kind of going to be more pressure on him because he's an MVP caliber player. And you're looking at Justin Herbert on the other side of the field. Like, you're not playing some bum. Like, Justin Herbert is no joke. Now, is Justin Herbert a great playoff quarterback? No. When I think of Justin Herbert in the playoffs, I don't think of him killing, right? He blew a huge lead and then he threw 4 picks in his 2 playoff games. But he's a veteran quarterback who has experience in this league being elite. So I think that this is a close game and the Chargers are going to cover. Final game of the week, we'll cover the Steelers. Another underdog. Give me the Steelers +3. This is the most Mike Tomlin cover spot ever. I know that they're let down in the playoffs every year. I don't really care. It's a Monday night game. It's Mike Tomlin getting 3 points in Pittsburgh. They're getting DK back. You have Aaron Rodgers against an anemic CJ Stroud-led Texans offense. It's a water pistol of an offense. It's not good. And I think that this is going to be an unbelievably low-scoring game, so why would you not take 3 points? I see this game. This game could end 7-10. Real shit. Like, TJ Watt coming back, I think a lot of people, like, kind of sell their stock on this Pittsburgh defense every year when TJ Watt isn't there. And then the second TJ Watt comes back, you're just like, oh, this guy is the soul of this defense. Like, even though I don't even think that TJ Watt has been, like, great. I don't even think TJ Watt's, like, a great player anymore. He's really good. But I don't know what it is about this guy. Like, when he's off the field, this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is, like, just an open door to the run game. Look, I saw a video, one of my favorite videos I've seen lately is this guy talking about how you could put a dead guy in a casket and push him over, and he would gain yards against the Steelers defense. Like, the Steelers run defense is so bad when TJ Watt isn't in the game. But for some reason, TJ Watt touches this field, and the whole defense just decides that they're, like, elite. I think Matt Stafford just threw a pick, and if he did, that's a bad pick. I believe they're in field goal range. That's a bad pick. Rams? The Rams might be in trouble here. This could get bad. But I expect Aaron Rodgers. I mean, their offensive line is not great. The Texans' defense is going to be bringing hell at Aaron Rodgers for the whole game. If there's one thing I trust Aaron Rodgers to do this season, it's get rid of the ball quick and make good decisions. I don't think he's going to throw a pick. Maybe fumble if he gets lit up, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get rid of this ball. You're getting DK Metcalf back, and I think Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren have just found like an unbelievable level of like flow state. Yeah, he threw a pick. Who is that? Number 2, is that? I can't tell. Corner on the Panthers. Good play. Jumped, picked it. Oh, I think it's Mike Jackson. But I expect the Steelers defense to step up. They're at home. I think they could lose this game and still cover. Again, you don't take an underdog plus the points for no reason. I actually think the Steelers are going to win. I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to deliver a playoff win. But this is the most Mike Tomlin spot ever. I mean, yeah, you're getting 3 points at home. It's one of the harder places to kick a field goal. You got those stupid, terrible towels like this the whole time. It's gonna be a hell of a game. If you were a football fan from the 80s, if you liked the 90s, if you liked the 2000s, if you liked that style of football, that's what's going to be played on Monday night, and that's what I'm down to watch. I'm ready to watch. I think Steelers and Chargers game is going to be an old-fashioned knockdown, drag-out football game, and that's why I'm taking underdogs in both of those games. That's about it. I mean, we did about 30 minutes. I gave everybody my picks, what I would bet on. So oh my God, and he's gone. Not gone, but Panthers inside the 10 now. This could get real bad for the Rams. The Rams, end of the third quarter, it's looking like are going to be trying to play defense from the goal line. But my picks for this week, I am going to take the Bears. You could take Bears money line, Bears plus the points. I personally have Bears money line. I personally have Jags money line. You could take both of those against the spread. I don't hate it. Bears money line, Jags money line, Chargers plus 3.5, and Steelers plus 3. Those are my 4 picks. We closed out the year on an insane heater. Let me pull it up real quick. I have a notes app sheet for it. Take a look at this. This is us in the last 3 weeks of the year. I know you can't really see, but week 16, we went 7-0. Seahawks, Bears, Bengals, Titans, Jags, Patriots, Niners, 7-0. Week 17, I went 5-1. Jags, Saints, Giants, Bears, Bills, and Rams. That was a live bet against the Falcons. They covered. Week 18, we went 3-0. So we went 7-0, 5-1, 3-0. Let's see if we can carry the heater. I don't know if I expect a 4-0 week, but let's say I expect a 3-1 week. Lock it in. Let's go for some playoff football. Is there anything better?